Today we're taking a look at the Timex Hodinkee collaboration that was just recently released. I have the watch hands-on to show you guys. It has a pie pan dial, lots of vintage inspiration, and one of the best bracelets that I've experienced on a Timex. So let's flip the camera and take a look at the new Timex collaboration with Hodinkee. So as promised, I have the Timex Hodinkee collaboration to show you guys. This is a Timex. It comes in Timex Hodinkee packaging, so it is co-branded. Inside, there's just a little piece of paper. It's a rice paper, I think, and it just says Timex Hodinkee. Underneath there, of course, you have a watch. Everything else is pretty much standard Timex. You have a little canvas pillow. This video is brought to you by Whatnot.com. Whatnot.com are a community marketplace for collectors like me and you. Whatnot uses a live stream format where you can actually buy and sell watches during a live stream. They have auction functionality, buy now functionality, and giveaway functionality. In fact, that's where I'll be doing most of my giveaways going forward to help avoid scammers. Not only that, I'll be selling all of my watches going forward on Whatnot because I really love the format. I love the community aspect of it. I get to talk to the people who want to buy my watches, and they get to talk to me about the watches themselves. There's no better way of buying and selling watches. So come and join me on Whatnot. Download the app using the link in the description down below and get $10 towards your first purchase. I'll see you in my next live stream. And here is the watch. Now you can see this is obviously inspired by vintage watches, but all Timex are really inspired by vintage watches. But what Hodinkee did here in Timex, they put a pie pan dial on this watch. And I have to say that's probably the biggest selling point of this watch. If you are a fan of pie pan dials, this looks really good. So it's a gray sunburst dial. So it's a metallic dial. You have a pie pan effect. So essentially it is a dial that sort of curves down at the edges of the dial. And then you have applied indices. There's a little bit of lume, just little dots of lume all the way around the dial. And then you have stick hands. Those are filled with lume, and a lollipop second hand. Again, also filled with lume, just that lollipop. You have the Timex logo just below the 12 o'clock index. Above the 6 o'clock index, it says Hodinkee, so it is co-branded with Hodinkee. They haven't done that in a few of their watches recently, but with most of their Timexes, they do co-brand. They did that with the Waterbury as well. They did it very discreetly, and I think they did it very discreetly here. It's just printed on in white. So is that crosshair. So you also have a crosshair on the dial that is printed in white. Everything looks really good on this watch. They executed it very, very well. You have a stainless steel bezel that is a solid piece of stainless steel. It is bi-directional and friction fitted, so in keeping with what most Timex are. Quartz Timex always have friction fitted bezels, so does this one. And then of course you get a domed acrylic crystal. So you have a domed boxed acrylic crystal, which when you look at it from the side, it's really nicely domed and boxed. Looks very, very vintage. You have polishing on the sides of the case, and then on the top of the case as well. Just on the top of the lug area, you have some brushing. That brushing actually goes really well into the bracelet, which is all brushed as well. This is a stretchy bracelet, as you can see, and there's one area back here, or large area back here, for adjustability. Keep in mind, I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and this is out of the box without any adjustment, fits me perfectly. So if you have a larger wrist, you might be stretching the band to wear it. So just keep that in mind, because then it will pull hair more. These do pull hair pretty well, and usually I don't complain about that, but I threw this on my wrist and the first thing it did was pull some of my hair out, which is, you know, typical for a band like this. But I do like the band on here. I'm really happy that they went with a stretchy band. Very vintage, you know, very vintage inspired. It looks great, and it really does feel great. I mean, you know, unless it's pulling your hair, of course, that doesn't feel so great. But other than that, I think it looks, you know, excellent on here. You can see the integration into the case, done really well. Now, this is not a thick watch. It's not a very big watch. It's 38 millimeters. So I think it's like spot on 38 millimeters. So 38 spot on. There you go. And it's around 11 millimeters thick if you're not including that battery hatch. But of course, you're including that domed acrylic crystal. So 11.3 millimeters. It's a little bit thicker than that, probably around 11.5, 11.6 millimeters with that battery hatch. You have a small crown, just under 5 millimeters. And then of course the lug to lug, I think is around 44 millimeters, 44.7. That's what it is for basically all Q Timex. And then of course the strap does taper a lot. It tapers all the way down to around 15.5 millimeters. So something to keep in mind. And you could just flip this over and you could look at the battery hatch. So the battery hatch, very typical for Q Timex. You could just open this up when you need to change the battery. Very easy. All Q Timex have this. Flipping this back over, that's really it. That's the watch. It looks great. This gets a Miyota M230. So by the way, it's actually pretty smooth operation, and it does hack once you get that crown out. There you go. And it's actually pretty smooth operation to the hands. Very nice. Crown has very nice operation, and of course it does hack. So it is a quartz movement. If it didn't hack, that would be kind of bad, but there you go. Very quickly, let me show you what I have on my wrist today. We'll throw this on my wrist, and then we will do a quick loom shot. We'll also talk about price. Price on this is really not that bad, but today I have one of my favorite dive watches on. This is my Accutron VX200 in pretty much mint condition. I bought it pre-owned, of course, but it was in excellent condition, and I absolutely love this. I just recently wore this to an Accutron event that I was invited to, and everybody was really impressed with it because it's not a watch that you see very often. So here is the Timex Hodinkee collaboration on my 7.5 inch wrist. As I mentioned, it's a 38 millimeter watch. It's just over 11 millimeters thick. You have a 44 millimeter lug span, or just over 44 millimeters. It fits really well on my 7.5 inch wrist, but definitely keep in mind the fact that I have not removed any links from this bracelet, and it basically fits me spot on. So if you have a larger wrist than I do, you will be either needing more links, or you're going to be wearing it a little bit stretched out, which is not bad, but it will pull more hair. And just by doing that, I just captured some hair and it pulled. And I don't have a very hairy wrist, so keep that in mind. This is a $189 watch. It is not available on the Timex website. It is only available on the Hodinkee website. So if you are interested in it, you need to go over to the Hodinkee website to buy it. It is currently available. It is a limited edition. However, usually with Timex limited editions from Hodinkee, not usually, but only recently, they have made tons of them. So this is probably a limited edition of a few thousand, maybe even 10,000. So they will have these in stock for quite some time. They still have not sold out of the Waterbury collaboration that they did with Timex. So that is actually still in stock on their website. That's an automatic dive style watch. This is obviously a Q Timex, and it's less expensive. So I don't know if this will actually sell out eventually, or if they will just, have these in stock for a very long time. $189 isn't a lot more. It's actually not more at all than a typical Q Timex that you would buy off of the website from Timex itself. So if you are interested or like the design of this watch, it is a limited edition, so it's a little bit more special, I guess. It depends on how you think of it. A lot of people are pretty sick of limited editions, so something to keep in mind. It's completely up to you. There you go. I'm going to do a quick loom shot, and then we'll wrap up the video. So there you go. Loom is okay. You have a second hand. You could see that lollipop is loomed, so you could see your watch is working in the dark. Hour, minute hand, those stick hands loomed as well. And then you have little dots of loom for each one of the indices, not too liberally applied, and those are fading pretty quickly. But other than that, pretty decent loom, I guess, for the hands. They're decently applied. I wouldn't say liberally applied, but they're decently applied with loom. And there you go. I think it's a good looking watch. All in all, I like the design of the watch. I really like the pie pan dial, the crosshair. I think they did a really good job with it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think of this watch? What do you think of this watch for the price, $189? What do you think of the collaborations that Timex and Hodinkee have been doing? This is like their third or fourth, maybe even their fifth collaboration with Timex. I know they have done a few, and usually they all sell out. That Waterbury hasn't, and this one has not yet. So I don't know, maybe they aren't as popular as people think they are. Maybe they are, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog, all one word. I have some links in the description. One of those links is to Whatnot, where I do live streams, giveaways, and watch sales. So follow me there using the link down below, and you get $10 towards your first purchase. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you in the next video.